Hello everyone and welcome back to RPGs with Paddy. In today's video we are going to look at book 1 of the starter set for Call of Cthulhu, Alone Against the Flames. This is a solo adventure, meaning you play by yourself, choosing what options to follow in the text. Think of it like a choose-your-own-adventure style RPG. It was first published in 2016 to teach the rules of the newly released 7th edition of Call of Cthulhu. For the purposes of this review, I was going to use the edition from the Anniversary Starter Set. If you have the free PDF version, it's the same, but there's a short introduction just talking about how to play role-playing games, which I will go through. You will also need the quick start rules or the introductory rules for this. It calls upon it at certain stages. So I mentioned that I would be using the Anniversary Starter Set, but actually the hyperlinks are not working in that PDF at the moment. I messaged Chaosium and I'm sure that they will fix it. Probably by the time you're watching this, the PDFs have been updated with that. So just a quick note here, I said that the links weren't working, but I sent an email to Chaosium and they responded to me and fixed the issue all within 24 hours, which is even more amazing because I live in Japan, so different time zones. So now the Anniversary Edition is up to date and you can use it freely. And if I haven't said it before, Chaosium have great customer service. To run this game, you need only a few things. You will need the adventure itself, Alone Against the Flames. You will also need the introductory rules, or the quick start rules. Both of these you can get as free PDFs on the Chaosium website. You will also need a blank character sheet, which comes with the physical version of the starter set, or you can get it for free on the Chaosium website. Especially I recommend using the AutoCalc one, but we'll have a look at that later. You also need some dice, which again come with the starter set. If you don't have polyhedral dice, you can also do it online very easily. So here in Google, I just searched dice roller and it will come up like this, straight in the browser. So if it tells me I need to roll a d6, I will click on the 6 and it will come up and roll like that. If I need, say, 3d6, I will just click again and again, and I can you can take that result or you can roll, and it will roll all of them simultaneously. If I need something else, for example a d100, I will roll 2 10s and take the first one as a as the tens die and the other as the units die. So in this case it would be 66, but let's look at another example. 65. Wow, not so different. 86, so something like that. So very, very simple if you want to use this material. Okay. So in this video I will be showing you a little bit of book 1. This is the same as the Anniversary set, but the hyperlinks are working as well. So if you have the free version, the free PDF of Alone Against the Flames, you don't get this introduction. That's fine, I'll just go through it briefly here. So first we have a quote from H.P. Lovecraft's most famous story and the namesake of this role-playing game, the Call of Cthulhu. And the quote is, I'm sure a lot of you already know, "The most merciful thing in the world, I think, is the inability of the human mind to correlate all its contents. We live on a placid island of ignorance in the midst of black seas of infinity, and it was not meant that we should voyage far." The Call of Cthulhu is an excellent, excellent story, and you should absolutely read it if you haven't. Really, really good investigative work. I have a link to my reading of that, and also a link to a review of a beautifully illustrated one by an artist called Baranger as well. The links will be in the description below. So in this intro, we get a little bit of information about what is contained, book 1, book 2, book 3, and some dice. And then we have a short overview of the game. It describes the keeper as a director and likens the players to the actors, who are free to improvise as they want. It points out that there are no winners or losers. It's not a competitive one. It's about cooperative storytelling and having a fun experience together. It should be pointed out that Call of Cthulhu is very deadly. Many characters will probably die. It's good that you go in with that expectation. And that gives a real gravity to the role-playing as well. There's some description here about role-playing if you've never role-played before. I will come back to that when we do the later scenarios, but for this intro scenario, you don't need to worry about it because you are just playing by yourself. The only thing you do need to know is this section here, which is about role-playing dice. If you've never played before, if you've never played role-playing before, you will see some strange notation there, but it's actually very straightforward to follow. So you have polyhedral dice, and a four-sided die is called a D4. If you have your set of dice, you will see the the D4 is this pyramidal shape with four sides. It can be a little bit confusing if you roll this, what the result is. For this one in particular, if it lands like this, you can see the number at the top on all sides is 4. And that means that that result is a 4. It's possible you have slightly different D4. In that case, it's the number that is the same on all bottoms. A little bit confusing. So the notation is actually very simple. You have D standing for dice, and then a number standing for the number of sides on the dice. So this regular 6-sided die is called a D6. Simple enough. If the book requests you to roll 1d6, you pick up your standard die and you roll. Oh, I got a 6. Usually a good sign. If the notation says 1d20, you will pick up one 20-sided die. Okay, it looks like this. If the notation says 2d20, you would take 2 of these. If you only have one, you can roll it once. Remember, that was a 2. And roll it again, an 18. So in total, that was a 20. There is also a couple of notations here that they point out. So let's see, 2d6, for example, means roll 2 6-sided die. And you might see 1d6 plus 1. That means roll a 6-sided die and add 1. So your results will be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. And that's pretty much it. There's one more small rule about rolling a D100. What you do is you take your 10-sided die, like this, where 0 is a 10, not a 0. And there is another 10-sided die, which has the same numbers, except they are 10s. This time, 0 is 0. So, sorry for the confusion. So I'll just roll a few for an example here. And in this case, I got 50. I'm not sure if you can see that. Where's my 50 gone? It was definitely a 50. 50 and 8. So I got a roll of 58. Simple as that. Okay, great. Apart from that, you should be all set. So I won't do the entire adventure for you, but I do recommend going into this pretty much completely blind. When you are ready to start, you should go to entry number 1 here. And as I mentioned before, it is a choose your own adventure. So read number 1, and at the end you can see it says go to 263. Before you get started, you should also take out a character sheet, a blank character sheet. You can get these for free from the Chaosium website. This is the AutoCalc one. So it does a lot of the calculations for you. You might look at this character sheet and think, oh my god, it's so complicated, so confusing. Don't worry about that at all. Probably the biggest strength of this introductory adventure is that it teaches you only what you need to go to the next step. And throughout the adventure, you will have learned most of the core rules while playing. It doesn't feel like you're learning. The only slightly complicated one is combat. Don't worry about that. But now, let's have a quick look. We'll just start the adventure. So you've got your blank character sheet. You don't need to write anything, not even a name. Absolutely nothing is fine. Oh, sorry, this one. So let's go through a couple of entries. If you would like to see a full playthrough of this, I have a link below. But I really recommend you trying your own adventure first. There are many different outcomes that you can come to, and it's really, really worth your while trying it, exploring it yourself for the first time. After you've tried it, yeah, please come back and watch my Let's Play of it, but see how you can do yourself first. Again, it is not about winning. It is about having a fun experience. So, let's get started. The sun is high in the sky, a merciless ball of heat. You feel scorched by the time you reach the bus halt in front of Osborne's drugstore. It's a relief to put down your heavy cases and take off your hat for a moment. You fan your face. It has been a long summer here in your hometown, and yet a curiously empty one. You look across the street at the grubby butcher's shop, the grocer's with its faded awning, and the shady tobacconist. Mistrustful faces glare at you as they pass, eyeing your clothes and luggage. It was your parents' choice to live here, not yours. You were happy as a child. You were happy down south as a child, among Providence's white-walled houses and leafy churchyards. Perhaps this new job in Arkham will supply the change you need. Yet everybody you know in the world lives here. You know nobody in Arkham, not one soul. You ask yourself one last time if you're doing the right thing. The answer is here. None of your supposed friends have come to see you off. You are alone. Whatever challenges lie in Arkham, it will be a new life and a brave one. A small grey motor coach approaches and rattles to a stop. You put your hat back on and pick up your cases. Go to 263. So this is the great benefit of the hyperlinks, is that you can just click on this. Otherwise you can scroll through. Huge piece of advice that I forgot to mention. I really, really recommend just having a scrap piece of paper, which I definitely prepared in advance, and just keep a track of the numbers that you have gone to. Sometimes, and I have a mathematical background, but sometimes I forget what number I was meant to go to. So it is very useful to just keep a track. So I'll just write down on my page 1 and then 263. So I'll click on that and see where we go. Also, just in case there is any problem with any of the hyperlinks, just in case so that you don't lose your progress. So let's go here. 263. Two young men with sullen expressions alight from the coach. One looks you up and down before heading away. The driver also steps down, glancing at you before crossing the road to visit the tobacconist. When he returns, he is rolling a cigarette between his yellowed fingers. He gives it a final twist and examines you as he reaches for his matchbox. He is a thin man in his 50s, dressed in a stained shirt with the bus company's emblem. Yet his eyes are sharp in their dark sockets. Where to? You show him your ticket for Ossipee. From there you will connect to Rochester and Portsmouth, before the coastal line to Newburyport, and finally, Arkham. You should be able to afford a rail ticket for at least some of the way. Otherwise, this will be the first of many long bus trips. The driver scratches the match and lights his cigarette. The end flares as he takes a draw. Then he exhales and gestures to the back of the coach. Luggage rack's up there. Okay, so now look at your investigator sheet. At the top you have spaces for 8 characteristics: strength, constitution, power, dexterity, appearance, size, intelligence, and education. Allocate the following values among them, writing them in the large square beside each: 40, 50, 50, 50, 60, 60, 70, and 80. If you would like more information about what these characteristics mean, read page 7 of book 2. When you've done that, go to 8. It's really not important for you. Well, if you're interested, of course, please have a look at those. But let's just go to our character sheet. Up at the top, we can see strength, constitution, dexterity, intelligence, size, power, appearance, and education. So we just want to put in a value here for all of those. So what would you like to be? For the sake of convenience, I'm going to put them just in order, being strong first. So we go 80, the next one was 70, we had 2 60s, 3 50s, and a 40. So in this case, a high score is better than a low score. So I'm very strong, I have good constitution, good dexterity, intelligence, probably about average size, talking about my stature, average power. This is willpower. Average appearance, thank you, and slightly below average education. So that's all we need to know. In these auto calculation sheets, you can see that they have already filled up with half and 1/5. Don't worry about any of that. You can also see that my hit points have come up here. I have 12. And magic points, 10. Again, don't worry about that at all. So all of the important things you will fill up as you go on. Okay, so that is as far as we're going to go now, because I can't go any further without spoiling some of the story. If you would like to see a full playthrough of this, I do have a link below, which I recommend watching only after you have gone through the adventure at least once yourself. Although there are many different options you could take, it's really good to explore that yourself. After that, yeah, please come and watch my video. If you are going through this adventure and you have any problems or any questions, particularly if the combat is a bit confusing, please leave a comment in this video and I will respond to that there. Okay, so that is the end of the video. Please try out this adventure. It's free, and I will leave the free links in the description below. If you have any questions, please ask me, and until then, please enjoy this game. See you next time.